We have 30 seconds. Time is now 7 p.m.
Thank you very much, Madam Zoom Master. Good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to District 11 TLI. That stands for Toastmasters Leadership Institute. We'd love it if everybody would please turn on their cameras so our presenter and others can see your smiling faces and get that feedback. This meeting will be recorded, just so you know, and you will be muted at least until there may or may not be any question and answer period at the end. Welcome, my name is James Ryan. I am the Area 34 Director in Division C, and I'm proud that our presenter tonight is a member of my area from the Free Speakers Club. Marcy Rankin is with us today to pass along her experience of how you can change a standard training session into an engaging speech. Marcy's completed the presentation mastery path and is well into her second path, innovative planning, as she works towards her DTM. If you don't know, that stands for Distinguished Toastmaster. Last year, Marcy was our second place winner for the District 11 International Speech Contest. If you were there, you might recall that she mentioned having 6 kids, including her husband. Marcy and her husband will be welcoming their actual 6th child, a baby girl, within the next month. That's awesome. Thanks for sticking with us, Marcy, to the end here. In today's training, in addition to getting your club officer training credit, of course, the purpose is to give you some actionable steps for you and your clubs to grow in your speaking skills while teaching valuable competencies at the same time. So how many speeches have you ever given or heard on leadership styles, mentoring, or how to craft the perfect speech? Do you ever get excited about one of these speeches? Do you ever find yourself becoming less engaged with hearing or giving a speech on something you've heard about time and time again? Well, after this presentation, you will come away with new ideas and creative ways to speak while teaching that you can implement right away. Please welcome Marcy Rankin.
You are muted, Marcy.
Let me try that again. I thought I had unmuted myself and I did not. I'm really excited to be here with you all tonight and sharing with you something I'm very passionate about, which is teaching some skills in Toastmasters. I know that can everyone see real quick before we go too far, the slideshow? Is everyone seeing that on their screen? Awesome, terrific. Before we get started, fellow Toastmasters, our distinguished guests, all of the club officers, and all of the district representatives that are here today, I wanted to tell a little bit about my start in Toastmasters. I think it's relevant because how I started, as it turns out, was not normal. I went to a Toastmasters club, and after the first club meeting, at the very end, I said, give me an application, I am ready to join. Within the next 2 weeks, I signed up to be the Toastmaster, or as I like to call it, the MC of the meeting. I was not afraid of any role or responsibility because I knew I wanted to learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible. I would call myself a Toastmasters geek. I went to the Toastmasters website, the international website. I downloaded every resource possible. I got deep into the manuals very quickly to make sure I could start checking off those boxes. I'm a box checker. As I did all of that, club members and officers in my club noticed And I suddenly, probably within a couple of months of being in Toastmasters, was the club vice president of education. Imagine that. The more members I got to know, the more guests I got to meet, the new members I got to meet, was when I realized that me seeking out all of that information was not how a lot of people start in Toastmasters. So I want to know, maybe in the chat window, if you could, there's a little chat. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's like a little pop-up window at the bottom there you can use if you're not familiar with Zoom or if this is the first training you've gone to. Share with us in a few words, where were you at as a new member? Were you self-taught, or how did you perceive training and learning in Toastmasters when you first started? I'd love to see some responses in the chat. Give you a minute to think about it. Well, probably less than a minute. All right, we've got a novice, nice. And then people learn from the leaders in their club, okay, signing up for roles. Yeah, all these standard things, right? Yeah, I like the self-taught people. I think there's a lot to be said for them being. Are you a vice president of education, Paul, by chance? Awesome. Yeah, so a lot of you learn from other members. So you learn what is going to be there and available at the club. So I think that's important to kind of keep in mind as we go through this session. Now, I want to share with you that a lot of what I'm going to share tonight might be very basic or might sound standard to a lot of you, but I want you to think of it in a little bit of a different way. If this presentation sounds standard in many ways to you, I want you to think of how you can communicate this to a new member or to the novice, to someone who could really benefit from these skills. So tonight we're going to talk about what your club offers, how to create a learning lab at your club, how to communicate all of that into a speech, a teachable speech. So you can be involved in Toastmasters to learn to grow, or you can learn or teach other people how to grow.
Toastmasters is a platform where you can cultivate, that teaches you how to cultivate courage by not only embracing your strengths, but also your vulnerabilities. So that when you get out and when you start speaking in the real world and trying to impact lives, you're actually able to exude all of the qualities of a true leader.
There's little clubs that are going on all over the world in every city, every time of the day, helping people nurture their self-confidence, grow, develop their communication and leadership.
Every meeting you learn something new, and it's entertaining, it's fun, it's a learning opportunity.
It's a place to practice speaking. It's kind of like a gym for public speaking, if you will.
Each and every member in the organization I meet is positive. They are always there to encourage you, they're always there to guide you, to support you.
This is probably the best thing that you can do for your career. Communication, no matter what job you have, communication is key.
What has surprised me the most about joining Toastmasters was how it revealed things that I never thought I could do. I never thought I could write. I never thought I could speak in public. I never thought I could control my voice.
I realized that even though I joined Toastmasters to become a better communicator, that I've become an accidental leader.
Knowing that you have that power and ability to make other people better is really humbling, and it's very empowering at the same time.
Don't say no. Try it. Go to a meeting and spend the time to really appreciate what the meeting has to offer you, what Toastmasters has to offer.
I am able to see improvement in everything that I do. The more I do the roles, the more I do the speeches, I realize that I am better at what I'm doing. So that's why I keep coming back.
Now I want to talk a little bit from the member's perspective, which is what we're focusing on so far. is why I joined Toastmasters. It's not just about jumping in, getting my feet wet and doing all those things, but why did I join in the first place? For me, I wanted to be a famous professional speaker, which is ironic because when I was young as a musician, I played the trumpet, I still do. I wanted to be a professional trumpet player. Every time I go into a new venture, I feel like I am only going to be the best. I don't want to settle for anything less. But truly what Toastmasters had to offer was a roadmap for me to develop the skills necessary to become a better and improved speaker. I don't have to be world famous, but I am going to, as I take on this journey, become more experienced and a better speaker as I go along. So I joined because I want to be in front of audiences. I want to speak to people. Now you guys know it's not true for everybody. A lot of people come to Toastmasters because they want to figure out how to communicate with their coworkers, how to land that next job interview. It's important to remember why you joined, and then also ask your other club members if you're not sure. If you're in a club officer role, you might be more familiar with why people join, but ask around, ask people why they join Toastmasters. In your club environment, you're going to learn the reasons that people join Toastmasters. That's going to help you as a club officer. It's going to help you as a club member to then offer those tools and resources and trainings that will truly help each club member. So now I want to know about what your clubs, there are many of you here, what are your clubs currently doing to educate its members? So in the chat, if you could just share maybe one or two things that your club does currently to offer education to its members. So we've got mentorship, education moments, educational speeches, supportive evaluations, feedback, nice. So one-on-one support with the vice president of membership or education. Could be either. Coaching, that's awesome. And not all clubs have a coaching program or a mentor program. That's great that you've got that. Very good. Zoom training. Yeah, a lot of great things in the chat. Keep sharing because I know that other people here are going to benefit. Anytime you share something in the chat, and if Rakia, I don't know if we can share the chat after this, but if you can look back through the chat, you might find some really great tips and suggestions for when you are looking for some answers or some ideas. I can sit here and talk all day until I'm blue in the face, but the reality is we learn from each other. I don't have all the best ideas. But to kind of summarize some of the things that are being said in the chat. Oh, I like the speaking tip, the Sergeant at Arms speaking tip. That's really cool. I like that. That's really neat. I know that in our clubs, some of the clubs I've been in the past, the Toastmaster of the meeting would kind of have an inspiration moment to start the meeting off. That kind of tied into the theme of the meeting. I think that's pretty common. So most clubs are going to offer speaking skills. They're going to be prepared speeches, impromptu speaking, meeting roles. Those are some ways for you to have educational opportunities at your club. And then in the learning side of things, you've got club mentors, education moments like someone had mentioned up here. And then let's see, oh, great. So Heather is it Heather? Hannah, I'm sorry, or Hane. I might be butchering your name and I apologize. She said that the 3 dot buttons next to the happy face in the chat window allows each user to save the chat. So there is a good Zoom tip for any of you. I did not know that. Awesome. So on the learning side of things, you've got club mentors, you've got education moments, like I said, and then pathways. And pathways is kind of like a little jam-packed session of learning tools in itself as the program. And then you've got the support. You've got the positive environment, like someone said, the evaluations, you've got the feedback, and you've got the encouragement. So the meeting agendas, as some of you have pointed out, just by being part of the meeting, having a meeting role or speaking, They focus a lot on teaching you as you lead, as you participate. You learn as you go. So today, I want to think of this a little bit differently. And this was kind of an epiphany for me somewhat recently. We're always trying to create this wonderful, perfect environment in our club. And then it dawned on me that maybe, just maybe, and maybe I'm alone, we should look at what Toastmasters says that our club offers. So what does Toastmasters say that our club offers? So just to highlight some of this, and these resources that I'm sharing, these videos and these graphs, there's a few of them here, they can all be found on the Toastmaster International website. So this right here, this is a page on the Toastmasters International website if you are a new member or a prospective member looking for more information. It talks about speaking skills, leadership skills, maximizing your potential, personal growth, networking. That was new to me. I know I get networking out of Toastmasters, but I didn't know that's what they were promoting. Writing speeches, a competitive advantage, and the self-confidence. So now, this is what Toastmasters has out there for us to share and use as a resource.
Toastmasters International has helped millions build confidence with public speaking. Our Learn by Doing program will give you improved communication and leadership skills, all while building confidence for your next big presentation, whether it's in person or online. Lose the fear and let us help you meet your goals. Build confidence in you. Visit Toastmasters.org to learn more.
So the Toastmasters website has amazing resources. I don't know if people can give thumbs up or a smiley face in the chat or something just to show who all has played with Toastmasters International website. They have done so many updates, and I know this last year has been a little bit frustrating because of all the updates. Sometimes it seems like the website is down or it's broken or something like that, but they've truly come up with some really, really amazing resources for us to share. And I know Rakia is going to put a link in there to some of those resources as we get along in this presentation tonight. There are templates and tools, the video like you saw. This actual presentation, all I did was download a template for a PowerPoint from the Toastmasters International website, and they give you, I think it's like 20 or 25 different options of slides that you can then tailor and add in your images and your wording to make it look very good, and it has all the Toastmasters logos on there. If you're giving a speech at your club and you wanted to make it more professional looking, it is a free and easy tool to use. I am a person who likes to reinvent the wheel, but you don't have to. Toastmasters provide a lot of tools for us to use. Now that gets me to the next point. So now that you have these resources and you know where you're coming from, you know what your club members are looking to gain, you know what Toastmasters is telling you that your club is offering, how can you create that learning lab at your club? And then some of you have already alluded to some of these things that we'll probably chat about. But before we get into that, I want to know, and you can do a thumbs up here if you'd like, give me a thumbs up if you think the Vice President of Education is responsible for teaching opportunities at your club. So give me a thumbs up. All right. All right, we've got a few. Okay, now the second question is give me a thumbs up if you believe that all the club officers in the club are responsible for having teaching opportunities in a teaching environment at your club. See, now we're getting some more thumbs. I appreciate that very much because I can't do it alone. None of us can do it alone. But the final question is, I think, isn't it everyone's responsibility in the club to maybe offer some of those educational opportunities? Even a novice, even a new member can teach someone some skills that they bring from outside of Toastmasters into Toastmasters. Exactly what Brandon said. We can learn from each other. That is right. All right. So what are some ways you can incorporate these regular learning opportunities? I heard someone say earlier what was an education minute? But let's see some of the ideas that you guys have. What are some ways you can incorporate some regular learning opportunities? And actually for this, I am tired of you guys just looking at me and my little slideshow. I'm not tired of it. But I would love to see somebody else next to me. Maybe we can bring up a side-by-side if Rakia can do that for me. If someone would raise their hand and just share some things that your club is doing to create that learning environment at your club. It's like Kevin's hand up. I dropped something. That's okay. Kevin, hands up. Rakia, can you promote Kevin? Kevin Burba.
Thank you. Hello, audience. My name is Kevin Burba, and I was given this question of what are the ways I'm getting opportunities for members and officers to participate in a non-judgment-free zone during their 1 hour time session during the day. The trick I learned so far doing retail topics with my colleagues in Toastmasters ever since, we found out that there are many ways to approach it. So there was one way we're doing it wrong and one way we start implementing improve on to do right. So the one we're doing wrong was when we gave table topics question, we would wait for someone to volunteer. But rather than trying to force them, we kind of did a volunteer basis and they would pick someone in the crowd and someone gives feedback that was uncomfortable. So what we did is that when we did table topics again in the next sessions, we'll make sure to mention that it is a non-judgment free zone and wanting to give a supportive environment by feeling comfortable. And we gave questions that were comfortable for the audience to choose from. By doing that small change, we're able to get participation and positivity, not only for the members, but also everyone participating well during the session. So we learned from that experience. Trying something new, and if it failed, we learn how to do better. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing. Does anyone else want to share something that they've done at their club? Love to have another volunteer. Anyone? All right, this is your chance for impromptu speaking tonight. I'm going to look at the chat over here. James Ryan asked a good question. Are the old successful speaker series still applicable? I have a couple of them in my drawer over here, and I know that some of you, if you're newer to Toastmasters, you're not sure what those, you may not know what those are. They're old manuals. They were printed, these like old-fashioned magazine looking things that were paper. It was so weird. But we use those as resources, and you can still use those as a resource if you have some old manuals. And then I would make sure, no matter what resource you use, that you tie it into a project that you're working on in your pathway. And Perry, I agree with you that the original pathways were a little light on some of the traditional skills, but I've seen that they've made updates recently where the beginning, the level 1, they have the body language and some of those skills built into that now. So that's great. Well, I'll share a little bit about my experience. So at a previous club I was at, as vice president of education, I felt like it was my responsibility. I didn't realize that I could use a group of officers or all the club members. I felt like it was my responsibility to teach education. So what I did is I came up with meeting themes in advance, and I would print them on a little index card, and I would have a whole month. So like the month of February coming up now, since January is coming to a close, every meeting would have a theme. And of one of those meetings, I would create an education theme. I think at one point I was doing, if it had 5 weeks in the month, I would use the 5th week as the education. Otherwise, it would be like the 3rd week. But that got us to put an education speech into at least one meeting per month, so that we knew that we were always working on a specific skill for the Toastmasters in our club. I felt that that was very helpful, and it also allowed people to plan ahead. And then the next part of that is I actually was able to then assign members or ask specific members if they would present the topic. It didn't have to come from me. And that's when I started learning about the collaboration and how to not try to do it all myself. Glenn Berger, your hand is raised. Would you like to share something? Rakia, can you promote Glenn?
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, one of the things that we don't do it very often, but occasionally we've had, instead of a single evaluator, we've had a group evaluation, and the dialogue that we have amongst the members, I think, is a very powerful thing. Having a larger group, we tend to pick up on items that we don't always see.
That's great. Yeah, we've done that once or twice before, but it was only because someone had not been evaluated. So they ended up going around the room and asked everyone for a comment to give the person who was speaking. We also, at our current club, we've brought back, and I think many of you might do this already, for giving feedback, and this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but giving feedback is to have I think Toastmasters International actually has a print off. You can purchase a packet of the tear-offs where you can vote for the best speaker, the best table topics, but it also has a section where you can write a note to the speaker. I know there are some clubs down here on the south side of Indy that do that, and now my current club, Indy Free Speakers, does that. We have a note sheet, and it just gives you a little, like 3 or 4 lines, and then it gives you 5 different places to then evaluate those 4 or 5 speakers that are speaking at that meeting today. So that is a way to incorporate the feedback from everyone, because sometimes you might get the same evaluator, or you have an evaluator that's really experienced, or you have an evaluator that's less experienced. And it's nice to get that variety of feedback from those members. So that's a great way to learn and grow as well. So when I talked about creating a learning lab, I want you to think about, like we said, the education minute, but there's also other ways. So the theme, and when I had picked out a theme as a vice president of education, I tried to focus it on a specific skill. You can also focus on table topics. Instead of table topics being, I mean, it's still impromptu speaking, right? But if the theme of table topics was revolving around something educational, you could learn from different members their approach on evaluations or their approach on different Toastmaster skills in the table topics part of your meeting. So creating a learning lab at your club, some skills that you might consider in that. These are kind of how I broke it down. If you guys have more to add, please add them in the chat. The roles in Toastmasters. So yes, meeting roles, obviously from the agenda. You've got your club officer roles. And then what I find that most members, new members, and even members that have been a Toastmaster for a while, have no idea what happens outside the club. They may not even know, if they're not an officer, what we're doing here tonight, or that this even exists. So how can you teach people in your club that there is a big world of Toastmasters? Not every member wants to get involved and engaged, but there are going to be some that do. And they can really then propel to that next level of growth if you expose them to some of these things. On evaluating, we're talking about methods of evaluation, the types of evaluation. Are you evaluating the meeting as a whole as a general evaluator? Are you evaluating table topics? Are you evaluating prepared speeches? These evaluations should be different. And then you can teach that to the club members. And then resources for evaluating. In all of these things that you're able to teach people, it's great to rely on what you've already learned, but it's even better when you can back it up with resources, whether it's from Toastmasters International, old manuals, or from another speaking organization, from a Rotary Club, a Kiwanis Club, or even skills you've learned at different conferences and retreats, your corporate office that you work in every day. And then of course, as Toastmasters, we're all about speaking. So there are different types of speaking. There are different ways to organize your speeches, and there are different delivery methods. I really enjoy giving something tangible to people, not just in a speech, but also a handout. So whenever I talk about meeting roles at my club, today I was actually talking about getting people to step up to the plate to sign up early for meeting roles. I think sometimes we go through these phases of everyone signs up for all the roles and the agenda is completely full. And then we go through weeks of some sort of deserted island of agendas where we're trying to pull teeth to get people to sign up for roles. And I'm sure that all of your clubs are somewhere in between, right? What I've learned recently, again, I feel like I've learned so much recently. If I've said that over and over again, I apologize. But is the club members, we've had a few new club members to our club, and even people that have been there a while, they've gone for months and months. And I'm trying to figure out why they're not doing certain roles on the agenda. Well, then I learned that they don't know what the roles are because we haven't pointed them to the resources. Or I like to give out a handout that just does a brief description of all those club officer roles, all of the club agenda roles that they can use then to prepare for themselves. So I don't think most people are as afraid as we might think they are. I think sometimes they just need to know that they know what they're doing. So now we're going to get into, you've got all the resources, you've got some topics, some themes, you've got some ideas. Now, how do you put all of that into a teachable speech? Well, I'd like to give you an example. I did a speech somewhat recently. I'm not going to get into the entire speech, but I taught evaluations. Now, you can teach a speech on giving an evaluation in a very dry way. You can teach from a manual, you can teach step-by-step how to. But I don't really love that approach because I've given this speech before. And if you've given a speech before, not that you can't give the same speech again, but I think part of the challenge of being a Toastmaster is to increase your skills and challenge yourself. So I got a little bit more creative. So today, I'm going to teach you guys how to evaluate to empower. And the way you evaluate to empower is to lie. That's right, you lie. So you might be wondering, how do you lie? Well, first of all, you might have to lie differently for a prepared speech versus a table topic speech. Now, how do you lie? The L is laudation. Choose one or two skills that the Toastmaster has done well. The I is improvement. Choose maybe 2 or 3 skills that the Toastmaster can improve upon in their presentation. And then E is empowerment. Choose 1 to 2 skills that they can use, that you can commend them on to encourage them to continue their journey in improving in their speaking. Any of you who has seen an evaluation speech before knows that this is the sandwich method, right? It's the sandwich method. I just thought it would be more fun to teach evaluations and teach people how to lie instead. So sometimes it's not about whether you can or can't teach something that is step by step, but maybe it's adding a little spin of creativity when you do. For those of you who prefer a step-by-step guide, I do have a recipe card for you, and I can share that with you now. So the ingredients of a teachable speech, since I said I was going to share some ingredients, you need some skills topics, you need a couple personal stories. Gotta have some personal stories. You're going to have some speech sections, and of course, the best ingredient, in my opinion, is original content. You're going to select a topic that conveys a theme or idea that you'd like to share. Traditional ingredients include mentoring, evaluations, or speech crafting, but be creative to add more flavor. Then, of course, next you're going to use the ingredients from fresh sources like your personal experience to benefit the club members. Please, please, please avoid using the canned ingredients. We don't want dry presentations or pre-scripted programs. That takes away all the nutritional value. Then you mix it all together. You want to make sure it has a clear format and original content. So that is your step-by-step instructions for those of you who prefer step-by-step instructions. I want to take a moment right now. I know we are doing great on time. Maybe we can get you out of here a few minutes early, but I want to know of what I've shared so far tonight, what you've heard from other people tonight, what you've seen in the chat. Tell me what has stood out to you. What do you see implementing in your club? Or maybe what have you not heard tonight that you want to share? And Rakia can pull you up and then we can have a little chat. All right, we got any hands? Who would like to share a little bit? All right. All right, we've got Kevin. Kevin to the rescue. Kevin, please, if you could, Rakia, promote Kevin. And unmute him. Kevin, I think, there you go.
Sorry about that. I think for giving feedback, what I got from sessions is try to be positive and in a good way to the people. And here's what I found out about giving feedback. Now, when you get feedback, you could be grilling someone that their speech was terrible, that it was like off the verbiage or anything. What you can do rather than turning it to a bad feedback, take it as a positive one of see what the person did well. So when you're evaluating on someone, rather than say, okay, speak, and I give them feedback, pay attention of what they exhibit by their personality towards the topic. No matter how challenging it is, they do the best. You highlight the positive. If you do that, of giving that positive assurance from one aspect of the speech and tell them to improve, you always encourage them to look forward to the next sessions to see something better and use it as a back marker of where they started to where they're currently. And at the end of the day, you always have to keep in mind of having fun with it, because if you have fun with it, it'll make a difference, not only for yourself, but everyone else in the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I mean, when you're giving evaluations, we have to remember you're still speaking. You still have the opportunity to encourage someone to grow, or it could become an opportunity for you to squash someone and diminish their confidence. That's why it is important to give some good positive feedback. Or if you're not sure how to give positive feedback, I know all of us have very strong opinions about different topics or different speakers or their style, and maybe they've got a ways to grow. Maybe they've come from a ways that they've grown a lot. But there's never a time when you can't find something positive, like Kevin was saying, to make sure that you encourage that fellow Toastmaster, that fellow member. All right, what is an idea that you've come up with tonight that you are going to implement in your club? I like the evaluate with stories.
Marcy, John Carson said to remind why we follow a protocol, also how to do evaluations. The live would be a good topic for our new members. Might want to address his reminder of following protocol.
Yeah, so when we follow the protocol, I think, John, can you come up next to me, or can you be promoted to clarify what you're asking there?
Start my video. Hey. Oh no, I read the charter the other day. Charter talks about using Robert's Rules of Order, and most people, when they come to Toastmasters for the first time, are wondering, what the heck are we doing? Especially since we're all remote in our club. The concept of handing over the podium to someone doesn't seem to exist quite the same in the Ethernet. So, sure. Hi Brandon, good to see you, bro. And so that's my next idea for a speech is really what's the protocol and why do we do it? And I think probably a little bit more on how to do evaluations, especially I like the lie method, talk a little bit more about the sandwich method. We could use that in our club. because I think we're into a cycle of kind of doing the same thing all the time, and we may need to do a little deeper thinking about why we're doing it and how to approach it. So I like those all as ideas for coming up soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, John. Now, I know that many of you probably are aware of this. I don't know if all of you are on social media. I'm more of a Facebook person myself. There are many options out there that Toastmasters International connects with. I'm not trying to just be a sales pitch for Toastmasters International tonight, but there are a lot of resources out there. Their Facebook page, they have a Toastmasters International page, or group rather, and you can get on there. And John, I would love to see what you find out by going on there and asking maybe what protocol people who have done either hybrid or virtual meetings, how they do some of those standard things. Like in my club, we are, figuring out and readdressing the need to make sure you don't leave the podium unattended, but how does that work in a virtual environment? I think that would be a really great discussion thread, and it might already exist as a discussion thread, or there might be some articles on Toastmasters International and maybe some of the past magazines, even that you could search for that. So again, I'm telling you guys, like it's awesome to have so many resources provided by Toastmasters International. Yeah, there's a lot of great things. So I appreciate your feedback and engagement there. And wanted to go into one more question for everyone, and this is for the chat. I'll try to spend a little bit more time looking at some of your answers to share, and that is, what topic are you passionate about? I want to know, just from all of you guys here, what's something that you're passionate about, maybe something that you've spoken about a lot, you find yourself speaking about the same topic. So what topic are you passionate about? Okay, Kathy or Keith, I feel like my eyes are not good anymore. I'm gonna have to get some bifocals with my sixth baby here. So Keith says healing, we've got positive quotes or nostalgia, nutrition, me, Mark, that's funny. Golf, learning in general. John Carson likes to talk about what Toastmasters did for me. Me too. Human resources, kindness. John Carrillo says knowledge sharing. Brandon likes to share other people's stories. Brandon, I want to hear some of your stories too. LaDonna likes to talk about faith. We've got philanthropy, hobbies. Awesome topics. If you're looking for speech topics, look guys, I've got you some topics here. Copy down the chat. Conscious awareness. Okay. Is that like the living in the moment? Lisa? Is that like the living in the now? Is it Eckhart Tolle? I think. Jose says hobbies. Let's see, I think I read that one. Education topic, opportunities in Toastmasters. Counting our blessings as a door to happiness. Oh, I like that. Okay, so this is my challenge to you, and there are more topics coming in. Be inspired. I don't want us as Toastmasters to teach the 5 steps to being a successful speaker. What I want you to do is teach how your hobbies taught you 5 successful steps to being a successful speaker, or how your hobbies can be incorporated into the 5 steps of being a successful speaker. How your blessings, which are a doorway to happiness, can teach you how to then achieve a Toastmaster skill. I like to talk about what I want to talk about. The person earlier that said, I want to talk about me, I want to talk about my, I want to talk about me, my, all those things. There's a country song and I'm ruining it. But you can talk about what you're passionate about and then pull in that Toastmasters theme or that Toastmasters teaching material to do that. All right. So I am passionate about, let's see if I can pull them up here, these guys. I'm passionate about my 5 children. You've got the oldest there is Will. He is going to be 18 in a week or so, which is very scary to me. The next one is Dominic, who is 12, my preteen. And then you've got Jeremiah, who is my 8-year-old. Next is Hope. Poor Hope. We really did hold out for Hope. She's our only girl for at least a few more weeks, and she's 6. And then we got Robert, and Robert he's a 4-year-old now. In this picture, he was just under 4 and didn't care about the camera. He wanted to see what everyone was doing. That's not true. As you can tell, it was very sunny and everyone was blinded by the camera. They didn't want to look at me when I was taking the photo. And then, of course, because we like to do goofy family photos after a midnight church service where the youngest just woke up, it's time for a family photo. So that's why the youngest is not looking super happy. But I'm passionate about my family. I'm passionate about speaking about my kids. Each one is unique. They each require a different presentation style. My 17-year-old, I use the storytelling style. What teenager doesn't love to hear a good long story about how it was when I was a kid? He complains that he has to do these chores all day long, but the reality is he's got nothing on what I had to do when I was a kid. I had to make my bed in the morning. I had to vacuum my room. I had to put all my toys away every single morning. And then I had to make my own breakfast. I had to be responsible for my own homework. My mom could have helped me, but she wanted me to learn on my own sometimes too. She would study with me. She made me study every single night. Can you imagine that? Every night? That's ridiculous. So of course my teenager learns best from a long story. Now my 12-year-old, he, I think, is going to be an engineer like his dad. He is very step-by-step. So I use a step-by-step method with him. Okay, the first thing you're gonna do when you get home is you're gonna knock out your chore. And then you can play video games, but not until your homework is done. And then after that, at 5 o'clock, so are you sure, Mom, that's 5 o'clock? Yes, 5 o'clock. But Mom, it's only 4:58. No, at 5 o'clock, we're gonna eat dinner. So he's my very literal one. So then I use a step-by-step approach with him. And then my 8-year-old, I use the coaching method. He is a gymnast. He is very talented at what he does. I'm not sure whether some of you are friends with me on Facebook or not, but I post some of his gymnastics videos, and he is a gifted kid. It's amazing to see what he can do with his body. He loves Skittles. So I coach him throughout the day whenever I have had something for him to do. And then at the end of the week, we give him a reward, Skittles. And then you've got our 6-year-old. I have to use a connector presentation style with her. She needs to know that I'm in her world, which is all sunshine, rainbows, kittens, puppy dogs, unicorns, and Barbies. Okay, the right thing to do right now, honey, is to go to bed because your Barbies need to sleep tonight. They need to go to bed and you can tuck them in, but if you're awake, they're gonna be awake and then everyone's gonna be cranky tomorrow. So I'm trying to connect with her at her level. The 4-year-old, he's a visual learner. And by visual learner, I kind of mean that I kind of have to show him exactly what to do and then do most of it for him. But he'll be right there with me, learning along the way. And of course, I'm not going to leave out my 6th child, not the one I'm expecting, but my husband. He works best with an instructor method. I'm a good wife, and I know that every good husband needs a wife that can instruct him in exactly what he needs to do. I can make a list, step-by-step list if it needs to be, but I can get on him and make sure he has that instruction firsthand anytime he's around. If he wants to sit and watch football, I know as an instructor, I need to instruct him that's not the proper thing to do. He needs to go and finish some laundry first. So these are all the methods that I use with my children, and also hopefully provide you some creative inspiration of a teachable speech. That is all I have tonight. I appreciate you guys having me here, and maybe we can get out of here a few minutes early. If James or Rakia, if you have any other announcements that you want to go through tonight, I appreciate you all sticking with me for this session.
Thank you very much, Marcy. That was fantastic. I hope everybody really enjoyed that. I want to thank all the participants, all you club leaders who are here. Great to see you here, continuing on your leadership journey. You are truly the heart of the district, so we really focus on your development. If you have any questions, reach out to your area director, division director, of course, your other club leaders. We are here to support you. And thanks again to Rakia, our esteemed expert Zoom master. So great job on all the Zoom work that you did tonight. Good luck. Have successful contests in your club. I know those are coming up. So do a great job and look forward to seeing you at area, division, and district meetings coming soon.
And James, real quick, I did see that someone had asked how they get credit for this training. I presume that everyone, I don't know if they typed it in the chat or if they, by registration, get credit?
You should
By registration, as your Zoom host, we know who's been here, we know how long you've been here, and I provide a report for our program quality director. It's like PQD, PDQ. He will know how long you've been here, and he will send the credit to the appropriate locations. Please, please, please fill out the survey that will arrive in your as a pop-up once you leave the meeting.
Only rave reviews. Seriously, we want to know what you thought, and we would love to have more ideas on what we can do to offer great training in the future. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Lucy. I miss seeing you in person.
I miss seeing Lucy in person too.
I'm sorry, I didn't let people unmute themselves. Bad Zoom host. Bad Zoom host. Now you can unmute.
I miss seeing everyone in person.
Soon enough, I hope.
I hope so. Just
Are you
not
going
quite
to
the same,
the
is it?
spring conference at Ivy Tech?